Hi there, this is Navneet and welcome to my channel Navneet Technical. Till now we saw what is JSX, what are JSX attributes and how to perform inline styling in react.js, right? So coming to this video, we are going to see what is a component in React. So without any delay, let's start. First of all, let me open my VS Code. So I'm on my VS Code, and one more thing you have to do is just keep your React server up and running, okay? So for that, just press Ctrl J or Ctrl tilde, which is under the escape key, and just type in npm start and just click enter and you will be good to go, okay? So let me see here, you can see my React server is already up and running in my terminal, on my terminal. So I'll toggle the terminal just by pressing again Ctrl J. This is my React server, you can see over here. So let me refresh it, and by the by, the shortcut is Ctrl R. Okay, coming to the topic, what is a component, right? So what we'll do is we'll just see actually what is meant by that by a small definition, and then we will see how to create it and how to use it, okay? So for that, I'll just create a dev.js, okay, where I written some of the definitions. So I'll just press Ctrl Shift P and just toggle forward, okay? See, generally in simple words, we can say that a component is nothing but it is a regular JavaScript function, okay? So which accepts some inputs, we generally call them as props, okay? Don't worry about these props actually, we will see in detail actually what are these props in the next video that is just followed by this, okay? See, just for now, just omit these props from this definition, okay? So concentrate on the rest, okay? So in generally, we can say that a component is nothing but it's a regular JavaScript function, okay? And which it will also return JSX, okay? If we already saw what is meant by JSX, so if you didn't watch that, okay, do watch it, okay? So a component is nothing but it's a regular JavaScript function, and it will also return a JSX, okay? So that is nothing but a component, okay? And we also have a one rule, okay, while creating a component, okay? See, the rule is every component name must start with a capital letter, okay? See, this is because if you observe any tags like a div tag or image tag, so if you span tag, or if you take any tags, see, every tag will start with a small letter, okay? That is a lowercase letter, not with the uppercase letter, right? So that's why if we also use a lowercase letter to create our component, what React will think is it is also a regular DOM tag like span or like div. So like that we may face problems. So that is the reason why, in order the React to know that it is our custom made component, what we have to do is we have to start our component name with a capital letter, okay? So this is the rule we should definitely follow, okay? So now let us jump into how to create and use that component, okay? For that, what I'll do is I'll just expand my source folder and just get into index.js, okay? See, this is the code which I have written in the previous video for inline styling, right? So here, what we are doing is we are just creating an element and rendering over here, that is onto an element whose id is root, okay? So where is this element? You can see that in the public folder index.html. See here, this is onto this div. So what we are doing is we are just creating an element in our index.js over here and rendering that element onto this div, okay? So but now what we'll do is, instead of rendering this particular element, we will render our custom made component, okay? So let us see how to do that. So for that, what I'll do is I'll just comment that element. So the shortcut is // and just come over here, okay? I'm just clicking enter so that you can see perfectly, okay? See here, we are getting a red line, that is means element is not defined, right? So that is the reason why we are getting that red line, so don't worry about it, okay? So now we are going to create a component. So just a few seconds back we talked, right? So it is a regular JavaScript function. So first we have to make a regular JavaScript function, right? So personally I like arrow function, so that's why I am going to make an arrow function, right? So const and the name of the component, okay, must start with a capital letter, right? So that's why I'll take an uppercase letter, okay? My what I'll do is I'll just say my first component, okay? So any entity, right? So my first component, and I'm just making a regular arrow function, okay? So now our first part is done. Now the second part is it should return JSX, right? So for that, just type in return, and for now I'll just return h1 tag, okay? So what I'll write, so this is my first component. Okay, now that's it guys, we made our first component, right? Now how to use it? Okay, now we have created. Now to render this onto the screen we have to use it, right? So instead of play this element, what I will use that component. Okay, see using the component is just like any other tags. Okay, just we will keep that in angular brackets and we will use that. Okay, so I'll just remove this element and I'll just take this angular bracket and just copy this component name over here and just press Ctrl V and just close it. Okay, and one more thing, see here, as we are not having any children, what I'll do is I'll just remove this closing tag and I will self close it. Okay, now just press Ctrl S, save. See, now we created our custom component and we are using it over here and rendering onto that particular div in the index.html, right? Now once come over to your browser and just refresh it. See, that's it guys, now we are able to see this is my first component over here, right? See, that is what we are rendering onto the screen, right? So if you came up to this, congratulations guys, you created a first component in your React and using it. Okay, this is how we create a component and use it. Okay, see, but here in this case what we are doing, we are just returning a general, that is only one h1 tag inside our component, right? See, but if you take in real world applications, there will be so much going on rather than this h1 tag, right? So there will be so much to write, right, in our component. So generally what we'll do is we'll just create a new file. Okay, instead of creating a component on index.js or any file, we will create a brand new file only for that component. Okay, so actually we should follow that rule. Okay, every component will be declared or defined inside a separate file. Okay, so let us see how to do that. Okay, so for that, but we should not go beyond this src folder. Okay, you should create all your components in this src folder itself. So for that, what you will do is just come over to here on this source, place your cursor on this source and just right click on it. Okay, right click on it and click on this new file. Okay, so it will open a space to write our component name, or you can also do in this way. Okay, so just click on it and click on this. Okay, create file. So this is nothing but create file. Okay, and give the name of your component. So I want to give this name as my file name. So I'll just copy this and I'll come over to here and just click on this and just paste it, Ctrl V .js. Okay, and then click enter. So it will create a new file for you. So now instead of declaring making this component over here, I'll just remove it and paste it over here. Now just press Ctrl S, save. Now save this index.js as well. Now just come over to your browser. We are getting an error, that is my first component is not defined. See, this is the case because see, whenever you are making something in one file and trying to access it in other file, we have to do two things. Okay, see here we are making we are creating our component in my first component.js. See, that is one file, and we are trying to access that in other file, that is the index.js, right? So in this scenario we have to do two things. Okay, one is we have to export it and the second one is we have to import it. Okay, so exporting will be done in the file where you created it and importing will be done where you want to use it. Okay, so keep these two things in mind. And in exporting and importing also we do have two methods. Okay, let me come over to here this file and I'll just write. Okay, so in exporting and importing as well we do have two types. Okay, so one is I will write over here, one is default export. Okay, default. One is default export and the second one is by curly braces. Actually I think we call it as by naming or like, but the first one will be the default export and the second one will be the naming export. Okay, So first we will see actually how to perform this default export and then go to naming. Okay, see, one thing you have to remember is when you are creating any component or any like that something and trying to access it in other file, we should do two things. One is the import and export. So export will be done in the file where you have created it, and import will be done in the file where you want to access it, right? So here we created this component, my first component, in my first component.js file, right? So we have to export it from here. So for that, and we are going to see the first method, right? See, this is the first method we are going to see, that is export by default. So for that you have to type in export and just type in default and paste this name, okay, export default and whatever the component name you have given. Now just press Ctrl S, save. Now want to use it or access it in this index.js, right? So what we have to do here, we have to import that. What we have to import, we want to import this my first component. So my first component, import my first component from where? From my first component.js file. So that's why the dot slash is nothing but we are in the same folder. See here, index.js and my first component.js are in the same folder. So that's why dot slash and the name, okay, my first component, the name of this file, and .js is not required because it will take it as by default. Okay, now we exported from the file where it is created and we are importing it where we want to use it. Okay, now all the things are done. So just press Ctrl S, save. I will save this definition file as well. Now we done everything perfectly. Now we should not get that error. See, now we are perfectly rendering this. This is my first component, right? So from where we are getting it, that means from this component we are getting that my first component, that is, this is my first component. And what we are doing, we are creating over here, we are exporting it, and we are importing over here, and we are rendering onto that div. So this is how we make a component in an other file and export it as default. Okay, and this is how we export it as default, and it also have an advantage. Okay, see here, nothing will be changed in this file, so this will be as it is, export default and the component name which we have given over here. But while importing, okay, while importing we can have any name over here, right? So I'll just remove this my first component and I'll say FIRST. okay, make sure the first letter is capital. Okay, and here also, so I'll just copy this, here also I'll paste that. Okay, so now just press Ctrl S, save. Once come over to your browser, so make sure you refresh it. See, nothing is changed, right? So this is one of the advantage. Okay, what I'm trying to say is there is no need, while importing there is no need of giving the same name when we given as exporting. Okay, see, the thing is, while exporting we are exported it as my first component. Okay, but while we are importing it as only first over here, right? So this is one of the advantages. So while importing there is no need of giving the same name which is given when exporting. So okay, I think you got it, right? See, in simple way we can say that this name and this name should, I mean, there is no rule that this name should match with this name, that's it. So that is one of the advantage. Okay, and we also have a disadvantage of this export default as well. Okay, see, now let us say we do have two components, okay, in the same file. So for that, what I'll do is I'll just select all that and press Alt Shift down, okay, which will make a copy of that. Sorry, and I will name this as, what I will name it as, okay, let us name it as second. Okay, and here also I'll replace this first by SECOND, second. See, now we are creating our two components in one file and we are exporting first component as default and this. Okay, I'm sorry for this, I'll just remove this and paste this. Okay, the name should be same, right? Okay, see, now there is a red line over here, observe it. Okay, see what it is saying, only one default export allowed per module. So this is what the disadvantage of this export default, right? So that is nothing but we can export default only any one of the component in one file. We cannot export default more than one. See here, we are making two components, that is one is the my first component and another one is the my second component, and we are exporting my first component as default in the fifth line itself. So we cannot export default any other component, okay? But we are trying to do that in 12th line. We are trying to export second component also as default. So this is not possible. That is, we cannot export more than one component from a file as default. Okay, let me show. Okay, so I'll just copy this, and what I'll do, I'll just say second. Okay, make sure the first letter is capital. Okay, just save this file. No need of importing as well. Okay, we'll get an error definitely. See what it is saying, only one default export allowed per module. See the same error which we have got here, only one default export per module. So this is one of the disadvantage of this export default. So what to do in that case? Then how to export this component? I also want to use my second component also in my index.js and want to render it onto the screen. So how to do that? With default we cannot do that. So how to do that? So here the second method comes into picture, that is export by naming. So how you can do that means just remove this default and place this under the curly braces. Okay, so place that under the curly braces. Now we are exporting default only one component, that is my first component. We are not exporting it second component as default. See, there is no default over here, right? So if you also want to export this, we should wrap that in the curly braces. Now just press Ctrl S, save, and now while importing also, okay, so I'll just paste it. Okay, while importing also, if you are exporting it with this type of export, that is a naming or curly braces, we have to give the same name which is given while exporting. So that is my second component, and we should also wrap this under the curly braces. So this is compulsory, and I also want to use that over here, right? I also want to render that second component. So what I'll do is I'll just click enter, and instead of not only using first but also I will use this my second component also. So again just press angular brackets and okay, just press Ctrl S, save. See, but we are getting some sort of red lines. Okay, what it is saying, JSX expressions must have one parent element. So what it means, okay, this we are, see here we are trying to write two, right? So one is first and the other one is second. So that is my second component. So this is not allowed. Okay, we should wrap must have one parent element. Okay, we should wrap these two only in one parent element. Okay, see, actually let me first write and then explain. Okay, so for wrapping what I will use a div tag. Okay, so what I just type in dot and just click tab. Okay, and I'll bring these two. So just select that and just press alt and up arrow. Okay, it will take up. Okay, see, now that error is gone. Okay, see, remove this class name. See, the thing is whenever you are writing anything over here in this place, okay, that should have only one single parent element. Okay, one single element. See here, now we are having only one div tag, right? I want to write another p tag. See, again it is saying, see, it is giving the same error, JSX expression must have one parent element. So we can have only one parent element over here in this place. So if you want to get out of this error, just move that p tag into div tag, and by that the error is gone. Why? Because now see, we are having only one parent, that is a div. Inside that we have all these, right? So in this way you can get rid of that error. Now just press Ctrl S, save. See, now that error is gone. Now just do refresh it. See guys, this is my first component and this is my second component. Okay, see, that is what we are having. First we have first. Okay, what is there in the first? First, where we are exporting this first? We are exporting from my first component, that is this one. So here we do have, this is my first component, so that's why here my first component is printed first onto the screen. And second, what do we have? Second, we have my second component, right? So where is my second component? We are importing this my second component from /my component, that is this file, and my second component is over here, and inside this we have a h1 with my second component, and that is the reason why we are getting this line over here. So like this we create components in different files or in the same file, and this is how we export and import as default and with the naming. Okay. And one more thing, as I said, we cannot export default more than one component or only one thing from one file, but we can export by naming export in any number of components. Okay, see, what I'm trying to say is instead of exporting this my first component as default, what I'll do is just come over here and just press a comma over here and just paste it. Okay, this is allowed. Okay, we can export any number of components with this type of export, that is a naming export, or by using curly braces. Okay, we can export any number of components, but default export should be only one. Now as we are not exporting any component as default, what should be done? First thing is we should have same name over while exporting and importing. Okay, the name which you have used while exporting should be used while importing also, one thing. And one more thing is we have to wrap that under the curly braces while we are importing. Okay, now this thing should be changed, right? See, till now we exported this as default, so that's why we can change this name or anything, we can do that anything, right? So now we are exporting two components with naming export, so what should be done? We have to wrap that also under the curly braces, and the next thing we have to do is the name must be same. Okay, that is my first component. See, that is what we are using while exporting, right? So the name while exporting should same as importing also. Okay, now we have to change here as well, right? So now just press Ctrl S, save. Once check is every file is saved. Okay, now we saved every file. Now just come over to your browser and do refresh it. See, nothing is changed. Okay, so like this we can export by this way in any number of components, but by default we can export only one. Okay, and if you are exporting it by default, there is no rule to have the name same while exporting and importing, and there is no need of placing curly braces as well. But if you are exporting by the naming export or by using curly braces, we should have the name same while exporting and importing, and we should also wrap that in the curly braces. See here we are using two lines, right? There is no need of using two lines. Okay, just remove this and come over here and paste it. Okay, see, same like export under the only one curly braces we are exporting two components, right? So in the same way we can also import, okay, in one line. Now just press Ctrl S, save, and there will be no changes, right? So this is how we create a component in React and how to export and import. Okay, now if you want okay, now say if you want to print, to render this this is my first component more number of times. Okay, say you want to render this onto the screen, this is my first component more one time. Okay, what should be done? There is no need of writing another h1 tag over here, right? That is the purpose of this component, right? So there is no need of repeating the code anymore. So instead what we can do is we can reuse this component. Okay, see, just come over to here and paste this one more time and just press Ctrl S, save. Now see the magic, what happens once refresh your browser. See, this is my first component is being printed 2 times, right? See, but though we are writing only 1 time over here under the h1 tag, but we are getting the 2 times. How means we are reusing the component, my first component, 2 times over here. See, in the line 22 we are using it for the first time, and in line 23 we are using it for the second time. So this is one of the main advantage of the component. Okay, see, once if you are declaring a component, we can reuse that in any number of times and get that matter printed onto the screen that many number of times. So this is how we make use of a component more number of times. Okay, if you want to get more number of times, see here, as we are using my first component 2 times, we are getting that h1 with 2 times, right? But what if I want more number of times? What I'll do, I'll just copy this and paste. Okay, so now just press Ctrl S, save. Now once refresh your browser, see how many times you use that component, that many times the concept, I mean the matter under that component will be rendered onto the screen. So this is how we create a component, and this is how we use, that is, we export import in React. So guys, I think you have got an idea that what is a component in React and how to create a component in React and how to import and export, right? So guys, give it a thumbs up if you like the video, and do share with your friends if you find any kind of value from this video. And thanks for watching, guys. Do subscribe if you like the video. Okay, thanks for watching. That's it for this video. We shall meet in the next video.